Okay, Karl, can you look at this white dome there?
Yeah, I see it.
It's Hazratbal Mosque, Hazratbal Shrine. Okay, it's very holistic shrine of Muslims in Kashmir Valley. It's believed that the beard is there. So
Sorry, what of
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his beards.
His beard?
Here.
Okay.
Yes. Here. A small here is there.
Wow.
It's very holistic for Muslims.
Wow.
So is this place. It's Hazratbal Shrine, and just next to it, it's a University of Kashmir there, and it's world famous Dal Lake of Srinagar city. It's on the banks of Dal Lake, Srinagar city. It has a nice view from this shrine.
Wow.
I
stayed there in 2017 on a boat.
Yes, you stayed, but it's too far from the houseboats.
Oh,
it's
yes,
on the backside of the Dal Lake.
Okay. So this is
houseboats.
backside. Okay, so we are now on our way to
Athwatoo, yes.
Athwatoo, and on a very special trip. We're gonna find out more about Moses. We just want the truth. Has Moses been here? We've got some information from the 2017 trip, and also Jesus. His real name is Jamaniel, and so that's just the whole trip. And so this is the start. Today's date is the 22nd of March, 2025.
Yes.
And Feroz, if you can just explain these mountains, what's the name of the mountain, and when we go to Athwatoo?
This is Pir Panjal range.
Sorry?
Pir Panjal range.
Pir Panjal.
Yes, lower Himalayas, and famously known as Pir Panjal range.
So it's the lower Himalayas.
Lower Himalayas. You can see the peak. Can you clearly see the peak?
Yes,
of
I can
snow-capped peaks?
Yes, yes.
It's the second phase of Gulmarg Gondola, the highest high-altitude cable car. That's there.
Okay, so there's a
Yes,
cable car
from
there.
Gulmarg you can board the cable car and visit the highest peak. And during summers, from this peak, you can clearly see the 9th highest peak of world, which is Nanga Parbat. It's in Pakistan.
Okay.
Yes. In June, July, the weather is clear. There should be no clouds. You can clearly see the 9th highest peak of world, Nanga Parbat, which is in Pakistan. And you can see it's in border area also.
Okay, now just to explain, I studied for 3 years, from about 2013, 14, for 3 years at the College of Psychic Studies in London, where we speak to the spirit world. And when I was having a cup of tea just before we came here, because I can speak to the Creator, Allah, and all of us can, because we all pray and we all can, but I just got a little bit, I was taught to have a little bit more connection. And Allah said to me something interesting. He said to me, Feroz, at age 3, something happened with the color pink. Can you remember if something with the color pink happened when you were 3 years old? Most probably you don't know.
I don't.
You must probably have to ask your mother.
No, I don't.
So we'll come back to that after Feroz has asked his mother. Okay, so another thing I want to mention is that I believe in less is more.
Yes.
It's actually a Kabbalistic secret. The Kabbalists have got a document called the Zohar, and the Zohar is the truth of the Old Testament, and that's where less is more come from. The saying less is more come actually from the Zohar. And so I wrote 3 books, one on dyslexia called the Dyslexia Code, one on health called the Health Spring Code,
Yes.
and one on world peace called the Universe Code. And I was explaining to Feroz yesterday when he picked me up at the airport, Srinagar airport, that the butterfly effect. So the butterfly effect, that for those that don't know, is when a butterfly flies, if it flaps its wings, it causes a disruption, or not disruption, but turbulence, and it changes everything in the universe, just through the butterfly, if it flies that way or that way. And I believe in, if you can change one person's mind, you can change 2,
Yes.
2,
You
4,
can multiply
6,
it.
multiply. So if you believe in less is more, and you believe in the butterfly effect, it's very powerful. And this trip is to get knowledge about Moses and Jesus, but also to discuss it with local Kashmiris.
Yes.
Because we need to give the knowledge of Moses and Jesus being in Kashmir, not that information to die, for it to stay alive. And it's all to do with world peace, which we're going to discuss in this whole trip of ours. Now, one way, I was mentioning to you yesterday, Feroz, I want to explain less is more. So my one book is called The Dyslexia Code. And the main thing I discovered is dyslexic people that make up 10% of society use the right side of the brain. So Sally Sayworth in New York, in Yale University, have proven that a dyslexic person uses the right side of the brain. And immediately I knew that is the gift of dyslexia. Dyslexia has got a negative. Everything has got a negative and positive,
yes.
Yang and yang. And the negative is we're not very, I'm dyslexic as well, in the educational system, we're not so good at getting a 10 out of 10 or A's. But most people, 90% of society that's non-dyslexic use the left side of the brain. That's the sequential side. That's good for the educational. But we dyslexic, we use the right side of the brain. So I wrote a book about this. And I know I'm the first in the world to connect the right side of the brain studies where they put people down an fMRI tunnel with the gift of dyslexia. And so I wrote my book. I contacted a lot of people in the dyslexia world in Ireland and in the UK. And a year later, I heard someone at a conference in California, somewhere in California in the USA, and this conference was about the right brain that the dyslexic people use. And I knew it came from my book. And that is the power of the butterfly effect. So within a year or two, that butterfly effect already started. And this is this trip. This trip is all about less is more to get the butterfly effect going. Thank you for our first take.
We have just left Srinagar and reached the Manasbal, which is around 35 kilometers from Srinagar, from your hotel Royal Batu. And this is Manasbal Lake, one of the freshwater lakes in Kashmir and the deepest lake in South Asia.
Wow.
So it has around population of around 6,000-7,000 people living around this lake. And they used to catch fish and sell a lotus stem which is locally grown here in this lake. It's organic, 100%. You can have it. Okay, thank you.
What I want to find out is, you say this is very deep. So did you say it's one of the two deepest lakes in the whole of Asia? Did you say that?
It's the deepest lake in South Asia.
The deepest lake in South Asia. Wow. And then we're going to be on our way to Athwatoo, Bandipora.
Yes, we'll see another lake.
Which is
we're going to pass through Wular Lake, which is second largest lake in world. Second largest world, yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay.
Okay, so Feroz, I mentioned to you earlier on that I studied at the College of Psychic Studies in London for 3 years. And I can communicate to the Creator. We all can speak to Allah, but I can just do it through automatic writings, but thoughts as well. And the Creator has come with a thought for me. Yes. I believe in the reincarnation, that we incarnate. And actually, I found reincarnation 3 times in the Quran, out of interest sake, but let's not go into that discussion. But the Creator have just mentioned to me that you are the reincarnation of Solomon. So Solomon, as you know, it was the Jewish
prophet of Allah, alayhi salam. He was blessed. Allah blessed him with a great, vast area to rule. He was having, by the will of Allah, the power to speak with unseen, like we call in jinns, and you can call them whatever you are. He can speak, he can understand. Solomon was the prophet who understood the language of birds even. He understood the language of plants even. He understood the language of ants even. He was that kind of king. He was one of the esteemed kings of his time.
So we're going to go far more in the trip into Solomon and
definitely we will.
And Dal Lake and Solomon's Hill.
Yes.
But I just want to ask you now, what is your thoughts on it?
Reincarnation, I don't believe.
You don't believe in reincarnation?
I believe that Solomon was the prophet of Allah. He has left this world. We'll meet him in Jannah, inshallah, if we follow the footsteps.
But can I just say this to you? Do you believe that Moses so the Old Testament prophets, the Old Testament, the Jews, was waiting for Moses to come back. And when Jesus came, they said, this is not Moses, because we know Musa's personality.
Characters. So.
So do you believe that with Musa coming again,
No, believe
that is reincarnation, surely?
Uh,
And the same with Jesus.
Jesus, we believe in Jesus, that Allah will send
come
him
again.
back from the heavens.
Yes.
He
So
was not
that is
actually-
reincarnation.
Yes, actually, he was not crucified. He's not dead. Allah says in Quran that you haven't crucified Jesus, Isa, but I have taken back to heavens. He's there. He will come back to his life. He will come back to this world before the day of the judgment, before the end of this world, and he will fight the devil. The biggest devil of that time will be the Dajjal.
Okay, let's not go into the detail, but I believe that in Musa, Moses and Jesus, that is called reincarnation. And I'm going to Google afterwards. I've got my book, The Universe Code, on reincarnation. There's 3 places in the Quran.
You
that
can
are
clearly
discussed.
mention the verses. We'll see that.
So we'll discuss that.
Definitely, yes. It will be. This is second largest freshwater lake in the world after Caspian Sea. Caspian Sea is number 1 and the second largest. And it was, you can see the area here. This whole area was covered under the water. But due to land filling and other things, it caused, yes, it will be recorded. So it's a highly preserved area. You can see the locality here. They used to cultivate, it's naturally grown here in this lake. We called it hazelnuts, water hazelnuts. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've
During
just heard of
winters-
hazelnuts. I haven't heard of
It's very good for, it has good medical and health benefits. Hazelnuts are usually used to treat this diabetes.
diabetes. Yeah.
They use to dry it in sun dry it. Once they remove it from these lakes, then they sun dry it, then it crushed, make it fine powder, then they make bread like it. It's advised by some medical experts that you should take this bread. And this whole lake is full of such God-gifted resources.
Tell me, are all these mountains little Himalayas still?
Well, smaller, just
Small.
lower
Himalaya.
Himalaya
All
range.
these mountains,
Yes.
even those mountains
Yes,
over
yes.
there.
Here on the left side is the Pierbanjal region, on the right hand side is Harmuk. Okay.